Today I'm happy to talk to Alexis. He's the content creator behind the TikTok account NoOtherAlexis. Welcome, Alexis.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. So, can you talk more about the content you're doing and what's the idea behind it?
Oh, it's basically it's everything under the sun because normally I travel around and I'm the kind of person who just loves to talk to people and I just ask them. Well, lately I've been asking them what their favorite word is because normally that word is kind of important to them or it signifies they're going through something and that's the kind of the word that kind of like they are that resonates to them the most and it always I don't know it usually gives me an insight of that person.
Okay, I feel like that's something normally people don't think about consciously
Yeah,
as
exactly,
often.
right.
Yeah, but then if you really ask me what's my favorite word, then I will really need to think about
Yeah, and
it.
most of the time like their answers is it has something to do with the subconscious. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. What are uh some of the most memorable ones that you can think of?
So I was in Colombia last year, and a lot of people, well, most of the Colombians that I asked, they would usually say disfrutar, meaning to have fun, to
Okay.
enjoy life.
Okay.
And most of the time, like these people who answer disfrutar, these are the people that take life so what you call not so seriously, and
Uh-huh.
it usually emanates in their
Yeah.
aura, and they said, "Oh, okay, it totally makes sense now."
Uh-huh.
And some people would say also chévere, because chévere is it's like a slang word. It's about chévere means cool or very nice, but
Yeah.
this is a very Colombian slang.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your content is more about taking short videos about people's profiles and get a glimpse of how they view the world,
Yeah,
would you
in a
say?
way.
Yeah.
No, because I kind of joined YouTube like 5 years ago, and I
Okay.
didn't know how to do it. It's just that I've always been the kind of person that's like very curious about other people, and I always want to hear their story, and I want to learn from these people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter from where or who they are. It from all walks of life. I think if we could just listen more,
Yeah.
then we get to understand where a person is coming from. Probably
Yeah.
that person comes from like a different political point of view.
Yeah.
But if you listen to them, you totally understand like why they think a certain way.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love taking pictures as well. So I would sometimes there are some people that are just so stunning or they are so intriguing
Yeah.
that I just could not help it. And I
Yeah.
just approached them. I said, "You look so amazing. Can I take a
Oh
picture of
wow.
you?"
Yeah.
And sometimes like there are certain moments when you just want to freeze it in time.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh my god, I if I could just like take a picture of that person." And most of the time, I just approach them. I say, I show them my camera. Can you just
Yeah.
hold on for a minute? I just take a photo, and some of them will just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then would you say most people are happy about it?
Oh yeah.
Or yeah.
So okay, there was this one guy. I was in Paris one time, so I was going to Spain,
Yeah.
and I stayed in Paris for like 4 hours. I took the bus to like northern part of Spain, and there was this one guy. He was just like on the bridge in Bercy. And he was just like looking away, and I said, "This like a perfect moment." So I took a picture of that. Then I said, "Like, dude, I actually took a picture of you because it was such a very, I don't know, very moody moment that I
Yeah.
wanted to capture on film."
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, if you want, I can take portraits for
Yeah.
you." And I took his portraits and I sent them to him, and he said, "Yeah, thank you so much," because he
Okay.
will use it for his Tinder.
Yes, of course.
But it was so funny. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I feel like that's so important, that the aspect of trying to understand someone instead of shouting at them, and
Yeah.
just listen to what they have to say, and people are usually so hungry for that,
Mm-hmm.
to have someone to listen and want to have a platform to tell their story. Do you think that's something common of your encounters?
No, because most of the time I am drawn towards people that are in a way normal, not the celebrities, not the people that are in the spotlight. Because I want
Yeah.
to put spotlight on people, the everyday people.
Yeah.
Because like some people, they don't think that their story is special, but for me, I am already so intrigued.
Yeah.
Like, um, I have a favorite coconut man in Colombia
Yeah.
because every day I would buy coconut from him. That would be my typical breakfast.
Yeah.
Is that I love coconut
Yeah.
water and the coconut meat. Then eventually I just wanted to ask like what his favorite word was because I just wanted to know where he's coming from
Yeah.
and like what motivates him, and it usually like paints a picture
Yeah.
of where the person is at. And I actually forgot what his favorite word was, but I asked him about um his sueño de la vida, his dream in life, and it just touched me because he said he doesn't dream that much.
Yeah.
All he wanted was like good health,
Mm-hmm.
continuous work,
Yeah.
and nothing so fancy. And
Yeah.
I was just it just put things into perspective. Like
Yeah.
sometimes like we feel like we're not where we are supposed to be. We feel that we are not achieving what we always wanted to achieve. And there are people that are just happy and content with what they have. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so touching.
Yeah. I think there is the aspect of you are approaching it from the angle of connection rather than the angle of trying to show off, or
Exactly.
yeah. So and then there is beauty
Mm-hmm.
in the everyday mundane
Yes.
and same like normal stories,
Yeah.
and that's something common among humans,
Mm-hmm.
and then we connect to
Mm-hmm.
that because that's our life. And I feel like that's something that actually impacts people as opposed to looking at this celebrity
Yeah.
catching like attention or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactamente. Because like here's the thing, you live in Luxembourg,
Yeah.
and I'm like Luxembourg adjacent, and you know that there are some people in Luxembourg who just want to show off. Like you meet them, they just talk about like I'm from this, I'm from that,
Yeah.
and there people are trying to one up each other. I'm like, dude, I am not impressed with that. I am
Yeah.
more impressed if you are kind. If
Yeah.
you show me that you are kind, you treat people nicely, then
Yeah.
I'd be so much more in awe.
Yeah, but why do you think people do that, trying to show off and I'm this and that? Why do you where do you think that
I think it's
is
like the
from?
human nature that people they
Okay.
just try to say to just prove to the world that I have achieved this. But the thing is,
Yeah.
like once you achieve that, then you realize that everything, like all these material things, these praises, it does not matter
Yeah.
unless you're happy from
Yeah.
the inside.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have contributed to the community. You have helped your family,
Yeah.
or probably it's because I have an Asian mindset. Yeah, we're both Asians, and it's different coming from that part of the world and people from here, wherein people are so independent. And with us, it's always a community, right?
Yes, but I think it's changing in
Yeah.
the modern society as well.
Mhm.
I think people are becoming more, and I think a lot of it is also from insecurity.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think there, even for myself, my past, there were times where like I was more egocentric
Yeah.
and I want to try to prove
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I'm better than because in a sense that like if I really be honest with myself, it's more from insecurities from my childhood or and it's not, and then I think over time I realize that it doesn't bring
Joy.
happiness,
Yes.
fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
contentment,
Mm-hmm.
and then that only like trying to be better than other people is is just empty, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's not the path that um I personally want to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, I think it has something to do with age because
Uh-huh.
if this person who tries to one up each other, they're probably like on their teenage years or like early 20s. I
Yeah,
totally
I
get it.
think
I'd
yeah.
like, okay, I'd let it slide.
Yeah.
They don't really know much about life.
Yeah.
But if I meet someone who's kind of like almost 30 or 30,
Oh my god.
30 and crazy.
Yeah.
I've met
I
some people that are like that. I'm like, I feel so sad because
yeah. Yeah, I think after we go through, like, there's probably times in our
yes.
lives,
Mm-hmm.
maybe when we're younger, that uh, we don't know better.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, but I'm very surprised also, actually, like people in their 30s or even 40s and 50s are still like
Yeah.
that. And to be honest, now, I mean, I feel more bad
Yeah.
that they don't get to experience the beautiful side of life.
Exactly.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, uh, yeah. And if I if I ever meet someone that's like, you can see it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you're like, okay,
And I usually just avoid them like a plague. I'm at
okay,
this point in my life
uh,
wherein I just don't really have much time and
yeah,
like bandwidth to deal with people who are still in a way
yeah,
toddlers in
uh,
attitude.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, I'm not.
uh-huh,
I want to surround myself with positivity.
yeah,
That's the reason why I usually get drawn towards people who are like older than me or
mm,
people who have a lot to share
yeah,
intellectually
uh-huh,
because I am always a work in progress. I am not
yeah,
the kindest person. I try to be kind. I know I am kind, but I
yeah,
could be kinder.
yeah. Yeah, like we can always be better, and the important thing is to be honest
Mm-hmm.
about
Yes.
it and own our
Yeah.
mistakes
Because I
also.
think some people they just don't know that they're insecure.
Yeah,
The more that they try
hide.
to show off,
Yeah.
the more it's so obvious that there are certain things that they want to compensate on.
Mm, okay. Yeah. So now you don't get involved with
No,
those,
I just don't
like,
really have the time.
okay, yeah. That's a good way to
I don't have
approach.
time for the drama. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like, I'd rather sleep.
Okay. Yeah, I have more to ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I want to ask you, like, since you talk to all walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
and um, what are some commonalities that you find about this shared human experience, no matter it's someone rich or someone poor, someone from South America or someone from Europe? Um, what are some common ground that you think you observed about people in general?
I've noticed that people would love they love to talk about themselves,
Mm. Yeah,
and sometimes you just have to listen to their story
yeah,
because for me, all stories are important, and some
mm.
people they appreciate it more when you ask them because like let's say some a peddler on the street sometimes like people don't even look at them like
Mm-hmm.
in the eyes when they like, buy like a certain food
Mm-hmm.
and it's just transactional.
Mm.
But like when once you try to start a conversation with them,
Mm-hmm.
they appreciate that
Yeah,
because you're showing them kindness.
yeah,
And that's what I noticed. Like people, they always have a story to tell, but
yeah,
some people they just don't think their stories are important. But
yeah.
for me, every all stories are important.
Uh-huh.
I think all stories have to be highlighted, and
Mm-hmm.
I am just like at this point in my life as well. I don't want to watch any of those life stories of this what do you call this rich
Yeah.
influencers. it does not really fascinate me at all.
Yeah, I want to point out one point though. Like, if you say that all stories are important, wouldn't that also make sense? The rich influencer's story also matter. How do you?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
okay,
compare.
correct.
Yeah,
However, on media,
yeah.
that is what's being highlighted
Okay.
already.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere you go, like if you watch like on cable TV, it's always about this rich influencers getting drunk, starting drama for nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just I think a saturation with that.
Yeah.
I wanna watch like these people that are picking up shells in the Philippines. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know about their story, or these people that were living in a rural China
Yeah.
and making a dress out of silk threads. Like I don't know how it's pronounced. Liziki. I think she's a famous Chinese
Ah,
YouTuber.
okay.
Like she
Ah,
starts,
yes, yeah. I
she
think
makes
I
everything
know.
from scratch.
Yeah.
Like those are the kinds that fascinate me.
Uh-huh.
Like people that are living the rural life,
Yeah.
or I don't know, maybe let's say
Yeah.
probably here in Europe, you see someone in a suit
Yeah.
and they're kind of busy, and you when you see them, you can think of like a backstory already.
Yeah.
Like okay, what is this person going through?
Yeah.
Why is this person having this expression?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to like read the room if this person, if you can sense that, if you can start a conversation
Yeah.
and you know that this person is okay with that,
Yeah.
then you start the conversation. But like some people, you probably they're not in the mood, they're on their headphones, like you know that you're not I mean it wouldn't make sense to start the conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, there was this one time I was on the train
Mm-hmm.
here in Luxembourg, and there was this one lady, and she was with with her twins, like twin daughters,
Yeah.
and they were so cute, and I was like saying hi to the kids, and they were playing and laughing at me, and she she poured her heart out to me, and she told me that her husband like recently died, and she slept with two twins, and they were just new in Luxembourg, and she's thinking of starting a new life in Switzerland. And it was so amazing because I didn't even get to know her name. I only asked her name a little later
Yeah.
when I was about to get off the train,
Yeah.
but I already know her backstory, and it's so amazing. And for me, um I am so humbled that she opened up to me from like I'm a stranger,
Yeah.
and she told me what she was going through.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that you're attracted to these untold
Stories, I would say, yeah.
stories and want to highlight maybe something that normally go untold?
Yeah, yes. Okay, when I was a kid, one of
Yeah.
my favorite movies is called The Motorcycle Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie based on the life of Che Guevara
Mm-hmm.
when he did the South American tour. Like he did it like via motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I think on that movie he said in there like let the world change you so you can change the world. This was way before he became
Mm-hmm.
the Che Guevara that he is.
Mm-hmm.
He was still like a fresh graduate medical student,
Mm-hmm.
so it just stuck
Yeah.
with me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I always wanted to go to South America, because I wanted to do the whole Che Guevara route, but I know I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do everything, so I just did like 3 countries.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the kind of person who travels slow,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't want to go to a country and just take a picture of me with the landmark behind me. It does not feed my soul. It does
Yeah.
not nourish me. I want to get to know the locals, uh, interact with them, eat their food,
Mm-hmm.
mingle with them, know their story.
Yeah.
So that's what I did last year.
Yeah. Would you say people live through stories and you are attracted to these stories and help to communicate?
Yeah, because I think it's more of I just want to become a better person, and every
Yeah.
time like as each day passes, I know I'm becoming more and more, I would say, good
Mm-hmm.
in a way,
Yeah,
in a
from your
sense, because
perspective.
like I'm not a perfect person.
Yeah.
There are days wherein I'm not in the mood, but getting to interact with people, hearing their life stories,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it inspires me to do better.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think that is from? Like, why are you so attracted to? Like, what's the why behind
I don't know.
you
I'm just
want?
curious.
You're very curious
I'm
about.
just very curious. I'm that kind of
Uh-huh.
person that like every time I see something that piques my interest,
Yeah.
I come up to them and ask them, "Hey, where are you from?
Yeah.
What's your background?"
Yeah. There seems like this. Yeah. There seems like this. You're not afraid to give people compliments.
Yes, I am never afraid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not afraid to speak your mind no matter the
Yes.
consequences.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are uh maybe afraid a lot
Yeah.
of times.
I mean, when it comes to compliments, I would say I think it's because uh, I would say one of the most infectious thing in the world is smiles,
Mm.
right? If you make someone smile,
Yeah.
you make a person's day, then
Mm.
that person is so happy. That person is going to pay it forward and make another person's day.
Mm.
Then eventually, that's going to trickle back to you. And before you know it, you've experienced that kindness and someone will make you smile. And I've
Yeah.
always experienced that. This is the reason why I am so generous as well. It's because I always get a lot of free stuffs.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like there's the saying that the energy you
you
put
get
into the world, you get it
yes,
back.
exactly, exactamente.
Yeah.
The energy that you give is the energy that you receive.
Yeah.
And I always got a lot of free stuffs. There was this like I remember I was in a jeepney in the Philippines,
Mhm.
and the girl like in front of me, she had like paint materials and this magazine about painting.
Yeah.
And I just could not help it. And I asked her, "Excuse me, where did you buy that magazine? Because I paint." And she was like, "I know, I just bought it at this place and that place."
Mhm.
Oh, okay, it's so nice. Uh, then eventually we started talking. Then before she got off, she gave me the magazine. I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
"No, no." Said, "No, I insist."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would yeah, I would say that it's not that you're expecting to get free stuff.
No, no,
It's
I.
more like you're giving the good
Yeah,
energy
I was.
and
Yeah.
getting the free stuff
Yeah.
is a byproduct
Uh huh.
of people's
Yes.
appreciation that's coming back to you.
And also one of the things that I noticed is that the people that have like the least, they are the most generous people on earth,
Mm.
which is so, oh my god, it's just so touching. Like probably in the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines, it happened to me, wherein some people they just offer food, and I said
Yeah.
no, it's okay, but no, they insist, and you know that
Yeah.
they're not really earning as much as we do here in
Yeah.
Europe, and also in Colombia. That's why I really felt so at home there because it just felt like I was in the Philippines, and people were so
Generous.
and hospitable,
Uh-huh.
generous and hospitable. There were
Uh-huh.
like people that I met on that day, and they already invited me for dinner
Uh-huh.
with their friends and their
Yeah.
family.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my god, I am in the Philippines. They just speak
Yeah.
Spanish here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think in Europe it's much colder?
Yeah.
And why do you think from your perspective that is? Yeah.
I think it has also something to do with the weather.
Okay.
The people from the cold
Mm.
places, they're also cold. They're not
Yes.
as warm.
Yeah,
And
that's very interesting.
people in Colombia and Venezuela, they're more cariñoso. They're very warm. They're very
Yeah.
yeah. It feels like they just want to give you a hug all the time,
Mm.
but it's not the same as some people in South America, like let's say not near the equator belt. Yeah, I would say the people in Peru, they're very nice, but they're not as warm as the people from Colombia. It's just different. The people in Colombia or Brazil, you ask them to dance, they would dance right away. But in Peru, they dance, but not as much as let's say people from
Mhm.
Colombia. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
that
yeah.
like it's
It's the
different. Yeah.
outward expression
Yes.
are different.
Also
Yeah.
in the Philippines, like we don't dance as much as like the Latinos because Filipinos are mostly singers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you say people are more because you traveled a lot and you've experienced a lot of different cultures. Um, would you say that people are influenced by their culture a lot, or they're more like individuals still? Like under the same culture, there are still vastly different individuals. Do you
Yeah, I
see
was
that?
yeah, in a
Yeah.
way it's like that as well. And also
Yeah.
there's this thing called nature versus nurture, right?
Yeah.
Some people are just not generally as warm as the others. But let's say if you're a cold person in Colombia, you are still warm as compared to anyone from, let's say, Germany,
Mm.
right? And also Colombia, if you go to Bogota is a bit, they have like a spring weather. It's a bit colder there as compared to people from the coast, the costeños, like from people from Barranquilla, Cartagena, Santa Marta, all these people, they're more warm
Mm-hmm.
as compared to, let's say, people from Bogota. But I would say people from Bogota are still warm than most people here in Europe.
Mm. Okay.
So
That's
it's like a spectrum.
yeah. Um that's very interesting how culture can bring out
Mm-hmm.
different aspects of
Mm-hmm.
people's nature. I want to ask you maybe some of the darker aspect
Okay.
of your
Mm-hmm.
experiences. Because you talk to a lot of strangers,
Yes.
let's say, and we all know that there are, like, let's say, more kind people and
And
not
and
so
rude people.
kind, yeah, rude people, or not so kind, insecure people, or like disrespectful people. uh well, have you experienced some of that from talking to,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I experienced that when I went to Madrid my first time.
yeah,
Like this blonde girl, she looked at me from head to foot. That was like the first time I've ever experienced that. That which was so weird
yeah,
because I was so excited to go to Spain. So I went to Mallorca.
yeah,
Then after a week in Mallorca, I went to Madrid. I was staying at my best friend's place. My best friend is Espanol,
yeah,
and I met him in the Philippines. So I got lost in the airport because like at the airport there were so many blockages, and
yeah.
I was actually like using my Google Maps, but like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes Google Maps is not really like the most what do you call that,
Accurate.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yes. So there was this blonde girl. I knew that she was from Mallorca and she is Espanol, and we were on the same plane.
Yeah.
So I knew that she was headed to the exit, and I was lost, and I was headed to the exit as well. I was like, where is this? Because I was just going around in circles.
Yeah.
And I mean, I already tried, and there was a blockage, and I said, no, this is not the exit. Where the f is it? Then I saw that girl. I said, okay, she was in my flight. Maybe I could ask her. Maybe she knows where the exit is. And I said, hola, um, excuse me, like, do you know where the exit is? I and she just looked at me, and she looked at me and from head to foot, and she said, I don't know. I was like, really? Really, at 7 a.m. in the morning you give me with that attitude? Then
Mm-hmm.
I realized that, oh, it makes sense now. It makes sense now after speaking to most of my Latino friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's just some, okay, I'm not talking about all Espanols, but of course there is racism in Spain. There is color. I wouldn't say colorism. Okay, maybe there is colorism when it comes to, let's say, probably if they don't know if you're Latino or not. Like probably if you're from Argentina and
Mm-hmm.
you are very white passing, but if you come from like a former colony who's mostly like Indios, like I am a Filipino, or people from Peru, some people from
Mm-hmm.
Colombia. Just a fun fact: all of my Colombian friends, they didn't never like the experience in Spain because of the racism that they felt.
Mm. Okay.
Uh,
That's
my,
something that they can actually feel.
yes, like
Yeah.
my Mexican friends, they all
Mm.
had bad experiences as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are going to be people, the Espanols, they would talk about their use of of the Spanish language, which for
Mm-hmm.
them is like a bastardization. This is not even the correct Spanish,
Yeah.
they say. I'm like, F.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because My experience in Spain is that it's such a beautiful country. I really love it. There's a lot of very nice people in there.
Mm-hmm.
What I love in Spain is that I could just get lost there and I don't even have to ask for help. And but some people they would just approach you, Mio, are you okay? Are you lost? I said, no. There was this one time I got lost. I missed my stop and I ended up going to the last town like outside like the periphery of Madrid, and I was supposed to stop in Las Rosas, and I ended up somewhere else. And I said, "Oh my God, it's my first night in Madrid," and I got lost. This was also during the day when, this was during the night when I arrived, like on the day that I experienced that racism from that blonde girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, oh my God, this is so funny. There was this like very beautiful, nice woman. Her name is Gloria. I will not remember. I will not forget that name. And she really made sure, don't worry, okay, we have to make sure that you get to go back to
Yeah.
Las Rosas.
Yeah.
So when we got off, I don't know which town it was. Like we went to the uh the ticketing booth, and she said, you have to make sure that he gets on the bus, okay? Because that was the last bus. I said, oh my God, muchísimas gracias, Gloria. And I'm hoping probably wherever she is, I just wish her well. I just wish her happiness because she's
Yeah.
just very kind.
Yeah. So these people who were unkind
Mm-hmm.
to you or were being racist,
Mm-hmm.
why do you think that is?
Oh, because like of course they just think they're so much better because they're white,
Yeah. Okay.
and that's it. I'm just like saying it with a straight face. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Some people they just think they're so much better because they're like the better race. Like okay,
Do you
that-
think that's a conscious thought, or it's how their environment has?
no,
or
because the
because
thing
they're
is
so
nobody is
unaware?
ever born a racist,
Mm.
right? Most of the time, it's they just learn to become racist.
Okay.
You see kids like 1-year-olds, they play with each other despite having like different skin colors, having different backgrounds. But once they get older, if like this certain kid like have like racist parents, most of the time probably this kid is going to become racist.
Because they learned it
Yes,
through their environment.
because they learn it.
Yeah.
But for me, I still love Spain.
Yeah.
I have so much good experiences in Spain, but I know for a fact that there will always be a chance of racism.
I think another aspect is probably also ignorance.
Yeah, in a way,
Because
ignorance.
They probably don't have friends that look like you or look like
yeah,
me.
maybe. Yeah.
Their circle of their social circle is
Yeah.
very small,
Mhm.
and they see or they hear something from the media,
Yeah.
and then they don't. There's like circling back to this, as we're saying, like you are very interested in knowing
Mm-hmm.
people and trying to understand,
Mm-hmm.
but I find that's not the common trait
Mm-hmm.
of some people are so self-centered that they don't care to understand others, and I think that also plays a role in terms of
Yeah.
yeah.
In a way, because like sometimes, like you know what, like if I get to experience racism, I don't want to think about, oh, probably this person has like a bad childhood, that this person has a bad day, or probably they're just going through something. I'm pretty sure they're having any of those stops, but sometimes like it takes so much energy
Yeah.
to try to understand where the person is coming from.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if they don't if you don't like their energy, I'm like, okay, I don't really have time for
Yeah,
your
yeah.
racism right now. I don't give an
Yeah,
F.
yeah.
And
I'm saying
right?
that yes, exactly. But I'm saying that from it's the lack of understanding from their side
yeah.
to try to understand another perspective from someone from another country
Mm-hmm.
that causes like prejudice or
Yeah.
like racism.
And
Yeah.
funny thing is, because like I speak Spanish, I mean, not really like fluently or not really like the perfect Spanish, but after I've experienced that, every time I'm in Spain, I just like do the do the Spanish like usual greetings, and after that I just speak in English because most of the time some of these like racists they don't even know how to speak English, and I'm like, okay, I that's like my one way of probably getting back at them, and I'm like, I really don't have time for your racism right now. You can't even speak English. You just speak like one language. I speak multiple.
Yeah, I think, yeah, sadly, that's something people have to deal with. Like, I think I personally also, I, I, I used to say I didn't care,
Yeah.
but now, like, I really feel like I can feel that, okay, there is racism and
Yeah.
stereotyping about like Chinese people,
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
especially also in Luxembourg.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not necessarily like racism, but it's more like ignorance, I think. Yeah, like I went to this comedy club. I think I told you the story before. I just wanted to enjoy some
Yeah.
comedy, and then the host was making fun of China and like talking about chow mein, like
Yeah.
talking about made in China is cheap. Like I don't know, like it's fine if it's funny, but it's not
Yeah.
funny
Uh huh.
also. So I just don't get the point of trying to make fun
Yeah.
of someone's honest work. Like, okay, like maybe 90% of your stuff is made in China, and
Yeah.
it's like benefiting your life. And why are you um making fun? Okay, sure, like if you make it funny, but it's not even funny.
Yeah.
So I just find that's like outdated beliefs that
Yeah.
can be also hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that I personally also experience a lot whenever people try to stereotype, like, okay, this group of people or that group of people. Uh, I think
And
it's
this is from a white person also.
yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Of course.
yeah. Uh,
Because I think like for us Asian, I would give someone a pass if they're also in Asian, right? Like let's say if it's a fellow Asian, like roasting other Asians and roasting his culture, it's totally fine because we're all Asians. But there's always that like the thin line between comedy and racism, and sometimes like oh my god, it would be some jokes would fall under the guise of comedy, but you know for a fact that that joke um came from a place of in a way racism without that
yeah,
person knowing it.
yeah. I do. Yeah, I do think it's okay to roast,
Yeah.
uh, but at least make it funny.
Yeah, exactly right.
And not based on outdated beliefs
Yeah.
that yeah, so I find also there's this aspect of people's perception updates slower
Yeah.
than the advance or
Yeah.
in technology,
Yeah.
like because okay, China is more advanced now
Yeah.
than you guys. We don't make cheap stuff any, well, we do, but we also make very high end
Yeah.
things. So I think people's perception is still like stayed in like
It's very
maybe,
backwards.
yeah, backwards, maybe at least 20 years. So yeah, anyways, I think that can only change with time, and most, like, a lot of people will still continue to misunderstand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so um how do you deal with that negative aspect? How do you let it go and not having it influence you?
Oh, I
Yeah.
just try not to deal with it. Like
Okay.
I don't want like negativity in my life. I want to surround myself with positive people,
Yeah.
and I'm very choosy when it comes to like curating my circle. I just want
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that uh the people that I surround myself with are people that nourish my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if there's like that negativity, I mean, if it's just like a one time thing, it's like probably from a stranger. I don't really. I try not to dwell on it, but like,
Yeah.
okay, I must admit the first time I experienced being looked from head to foot from that blonde girl, it kind of caught me off guard because like normally I would probably have like a quick comeback, but on that day I didn't have one because I did not expect it. I did not expect to happen
Yeah.
because that was the first time that I've ever experienced it. It
Uh-huh.
was the it was then that I realized like, oh my god, it totally hit me.
Yeah.
Some people would think less of me just because of my skin color,
Yeah.
of me having like this weak passport, and that's the reality of life. There will always be people who think they're so much better than you, and it's most of the time these are like the monolingual people, and I speak six languages, you guys.
Mm. So you're saying like sometimes people who speak a lot of languages will tend to think they're better, uh,
No, most
or
of the time it's people, the monolinguals, the
oh,
people that
okay,
just
yes,
speak like one
yeah, yeah,
language.
yeah,
I was like, what the? You
yeah.
speak one language and you think you're so much better than everyone else? I'm like, come on, like
Uh-huh.
improve your
So you try,
get a brain.
yeah.
Oops.
Uh, so you try not to, well, surround yourself,
Yeah.
and but when you experience something like that, it does affect
Okay, I just
you,
try
right?
not to like affect my whole day. Like
Yeah.
the first time I've experienced it, I was kind of a bit like I was in a way I was shaken. I arrived in Las Rosas and I told my best friend like, dude, you would not believe what happened to me. Like this girl looked at me from head to foot, and I'm like, the fuck. Entschuldigung.
No, you
Okay,
can,
so
you
this was
can
that
tell
was like the
whatever.
first time that has ever happened to me. So for the whole day, it yeah. I think for the morning, yeah, the whole
Yeah.
morning, I just didn't feel good about that, and I went to Sol, which is the center of the city
Yeah.
of Madrid, and oh my god, the energy is just so amazing. I loved it, and also during the night, I got lost and I met this girl named Gloria
Yeah.
who made sure that I was able to come home. So
Yeah.
like I ended the whole day nice. I mean, feeling happy,
Yeah.
knowing that not all people are rude in Madrid. But
Yeah.
of course, I experienced that. But after that, like, if I experience racism now, I'm like, I just don't give an F anymore. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. But yeah, I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to get involved with these people.
Yeah. What would be a good comeback you have, like
No,
when you,
I could not think of anything right now. Like
okay.
maybe it really depends on like what kind of things they hurl at me. Probably I would just could like think about something specific.
Uh-huh.
Because like if words be knives, I know exactly which ones to throw.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I would want to learn. I've learned something about that because yeah, I tend to on the moment I
yeah,
would not react that fast, but
yeah,
then like afterwards I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I should have said
Right,
that.
exactly,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
so,
sometimes, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. So do you think you have a good caliber for distinguish what's good people
Oh yeah.
or what's bad
Oh, I
people?
can
Yeah.
smell BS from afar.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some signs?
I don't know. It's for me, energy never lies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not what they say, but the energy that they give. You could just tell
Yeah.
if
But
someone is no good.
okay, can
Yeah.
you be more specific? Like what type of energy?
Okay, so sometimes like some people they would you know that they're telling a lie.
Mm,
Yeah, and I keep tabs of all those lies, like those little
yeah.
lies. Then I realize like, okay, this is someone that I cannot trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, if they don't follow through on promises or like
No.
they flake
Okay, some people
before.
are flaky. I could
Yeah.
just like give them a pass because of course I always remind myself that the world does not revolve around me. People
Yeah.
have lives.
Yeah.
We all have lives.
It's yeah.
So I appreciate if people will follow through
Yeah.
on their promises, and if they don't, it's totally fine. I just
As long
let it
as they
happen.
tell you, right?
Mhm.
Like as long as they tell you, like for example, if I suddenly find out that, oh, I have another meeting today and
Mhm.
we cannot do this record,
Yeah.
if I tell you at least a few days before,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
totally
like
fine.
that's
Maybe on the
a
day itself, it's totally fine as well.
yeah.
I'd feel bad because like probably I cleared my schedule for this person,
Yeah.
but it's totally fine. But eventually,
Yeah.
if these people
It's a
is just going to flake on you each and every time,
yeah.
there will
It's a
come a time that
pattern.
people will not invite you anymore,
Yeah.
and it's fine. And I always think of friendships as kind of like seeds that you make them grow and you
Yeah.
kind of water them,
Yeah.
and you're not sure which seeds are going to grow the
Yeah.
fastest or going to grow the healthiest, but at least I take comfort in the fact that
You
in
put
all
in
these
the
seeds,
work.
I make sure that I gave my all. I made
Yeah.
sure that I watered them. I made sure that
Yeah.
uh,
And then
I
you see which
I
one
gave them
grows.
the proper sunlight. And
Yeah.
if it's not gonna grow, it's totally fine. Maybe that plant is not meant to grow in in my surroundings. And
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's same
It's
thing for
a
me as well.
yeah.
Maybe probably my schedule just does not align with that person's schedule.
Yeah.
So it's totally fine.
Yeah. But what would be some absolute red flags that you're like, okay, this I should not water this plant anymore.
Oh, okay. People that are rude
Yeah.
towards the wait staff.
Okay.
If they're nice to me and they're very rude towards like the waiters and the waitresses, the janitors, I'm like, I don't want to be friend with this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's one red
Yeah.
flag. Like
That's like the number one red flag. 'Cause,
treating people differently.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's automatic for me. Like,
Okay.
nah, I don't need. Because the thing is, like, my friends are from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember after graduation in university, I went to this beach town called Moalboal in the Philippines. And there was this one guy. He's like, I think 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 20 years old at the time and he was 30.
Yeah.
And everywhere we go, like he took me under his wing because like we kind of like formed a group like from our hostel.
Yeah.
So we would go around and everywhere we go, he knows everyone, like all the waitresses, all the business owners. And I was like, dude, how do you do that? I said, I don't know. He's just like this very genuine person. He makes jokes all the time. He gets like people's attention, and he was just so nice. And I told myself when I grow up, I want to be like him. I told him, you know what, dude, you could be a politician. Everywhere you go, people love you. That was so funny. I think eventually I slowly became him, but of course I can never be as good as him. I remember when he was in Moalboal, he arrived with nothing but a wallet with him. Because I told him, dude, where's your backpack? And he said, this is my backpack. I said, what backpack? He just brought a wallet. I was like, crazy. And every day, if he needed new clothes, he would just buy new clothes. And I was like, that was a crazy guy right there. And these are like one of the most interesting people that I met. And the next time I saw him was a few years later. I just found out. I didn't even know that he was there. I went to this island called Malapascua, and there's this new sunset bar opening. I didn't know who was the owner. Then at night, I was eating burger at a burger machine. This is like a burger stand, and it's open until like in the wee hours of the morning. And I said, Mike, is that you? I said, Alexis? I was like, what are you doing here? I said, I opened the sunset bar. It's like, oh my God, that's your sunset bar. And I was just so happy that I saw him again and he was there. And I asked him, okay, so what's the plan? How long are you going to stay here? And he said, shh, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
As long as he gets to recoup his investment, he would leave because he was kind of like a nomad. Oh, I think probably like a typical poor rich boy. He had all the money in the world and he could just go anywhere, anytime. And on that particular season, he just wanted to open a sunset bar. So he was successful because like 3 months later, I went back again to the sunset bar and he said he was already able to recoup his investment. And he said anytime he can leave and at least his business partner is going to have a business.
that he can continue.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was right. The next thing I knew, a few months later when I came back, he was no longer there. And the Sunset Bar is still there. Sadly, the Sunset Bar was no longer doing that much business without him, because I think he was the one who brought energy into that place. Yeah.
Yeah. But it seems like at least no matter, like he was popular because in a way he took his responsibilities
Yes, yeah.
of being a friend or
Yeah.
business partner, and
yeah.
I think that's very important. The trust, he was able to build trust
Yeah.
because he's a reliable
No, because like
person.
before there was a Sunset Bar, there was just this old building. It was not even functioning at all.
Yeah.
And he just asked like, who owns this place? And he became friends with that owner. As he said, you know what, this is like a perfect spot for Sunset. We could do something about this one. So, you know, this thing about teaching a man to fish and he will live forever,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
like giving a man some bread and he will just live for a day. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing I knew, he opened a restaurant somewhere in Palawan. I don't know where he is. I'm hoping he's doing fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing fine. It seems like the fundamental thing people need is respect. And I think for me, if I feel like I'm disrespected, I will stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I cannot stand when someone think they're better and their time is more worth it than others.
Right. Exactly.
Time.
That's totally true.
And no matter, and also like if you're the president, if you're the king, like okay, I'm sorry, like your time is not more important than mine.
Okay, can you expound about like the disrespect? Like in what way would they disrespect you? Like example.
It's like if someone I think the worst excuse someone can give is they're busy. Therefore, I mean, if we plan something and then suddenly they're like, "Oh, I'm busy. I cannot do something because I'm busy."
Yeah.
Like, come on, everyone is busy.
Yeah, everyone's busy.
Yeah, it's I think like if I'm trying to make time for something we decide to do and then you
flaked on you the last minute. That's rude.
And then the excuse is I'm too busy. Then I feel like that's a very disrespectful.
Or maybe, I mean, okay, I'll give them like the benefit of the doubt. What if they offer you like another schedule?
Yes,
like, can
exactly.
we reschedule though? Maybe
yes,
I'm
exactly.
free. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think it's acceptable when a proper excuse is given. Yeah. And I understand, like, yes, people can be busy. Accident can happen. That's okay. But just simply say, okay, I'm busy, and offer no like backup plan or like offer a proper excuse. I think that's disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think I'm very conscious of making sure that the people I want to be friends with, we should be putting in like equal efforts.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That's very true.
Yeah. And I'm very conscious that if you did more this time, I will do more next time, or I offer a something that from my side. And I'm also conscious if this person is taking me for granted, then okay, I will stop.
Because the thing is, for a relationship to work, it has to be both. It shouldn't just be just one way. Right? Both of you should make an effort, not just like the other person does an effort and the other one is just reactive. And that's not a healthy relationship. And you have to know your worth. If a person does not reciprocate, then you might as well think of probably letting that person go. Think of like not having like a poverty mindset, like, oh my god, I cannot find another friends, I cannot find another this. Think about like abundance. You know that there's going to be so much better people that you are going to meet in the future. Do not let that person prohibit you from meeting like a better person in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I think the people who still operate under the mindset of I should only take and not give, I am still not conscious of. And I feel like a lot of people do like social jumping. Like, they go to different events, and then they only make surface connections. And then okay, I go to this group, and then I go I go to the next one. I mean, there's always new people. There's always new people to meet. There's always but at some point it's like, what are you doing? Like, you have no friendship, no nothing deep.
I feel sad for that person. Right? Because probably they don't have like the deep connection with people. But I totally get it. I wouldn't really mind having that person in my social group for like for a while. Because like if they bring good energy, why not? And as long as there are no expectations, you know that person is not really going to be your ride or die. Because not all your friends. Okay, think of this as a tree. Some friends are going to be like your roots. I think I saw it somewhere. A friend of mine like sent me a TikTok about this one. Some of your closest friends are going to be your roots. They are going to anchor you. They're gonna be there for you, like through the bad times and the good times. And some people are going to be like the branches. They're close but not necessarily with you all the time. And it's totally fine because they probably have different priorities in life. And some people are just like those little twigs that it's not gonna last. They're gonna fall off. But it's totally fine. Right?
Yes. I have a question about that. Is how do you keep your boundary from not getting too close to those people who will flake you?
Okay. No, because like I think it took me a while to get here because I don't take things too personally anymore. Because for me, if a person would really want to stay in your life, they would make an effort. Okay, so if I already did an effort and they didn't do anything about it, at least in your heart that you did not. I mean, if that relationship or friendship does not really continue, it's totally fine because you know that on your part you did everything.
There's no guilt from your
there's
side.
no guilt.
Do you think it's worse to live with guilt than being hurt?
Okay, so being hurt. Okay. Here's another thing that I've learned recently is that crying is not really a sign of weakness. Crying only signifies that you are alive. So it's totally fine. Pain demands to be felt. Right? So if you cry once in a while, if you feel pain, it's totally fine. You have to be thankful for that because that means you're still alive. And life is a gift. Not everyone gets to grow old. So that's how I see things now. Like if a person doesn't want to stay, I don't really hold on to them because for me, I can I don't know because I always had this abundance mindset that I can always make new friends. I can always meet new people, but they can never meet another one like me. Or it's gonna be okay. That's probably too egotistical. But the thing is, like, I know for a fact that I've always been genuine towards all my interactions. Oh, this is so funny because I was in Santa Marta in Colombia one time. And I was at the pool, and I started talking to this Swiss guy. We started talking. We talked about like all the deep stuff. We talked about for more than probably more than 2 hours. And it was only then we realized we did not even exchange our names. Dude, what's your name?
But
it was so funny.
I do. I can really feel. I have to say. I thought you are like a super busy person. But then I think we have built trust because we follow through on whatever we're talking, and I think that's so important, and I think that's something you do so well. Is like, if you say something, you follow through with what you say. I think that's like so fundamental, and I feel like not everyone do that, and most people, if I meet them, like if they say something, I will take it as a 50%.
Yeah, you just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And then I think I have trust. We built trust because I think you always have followed through on what you have said.
Yeah, because the thing is like
that's like very like fundamental.
I told you about like this thing right here that we are going to shoot a podcast. I promised. I gave you my word, so I'm gonna follow through on that.
Yeah, and it's also the same for me. I told you I want to invite you here, and I will plan and do. I think
that's the only time I'll because respect has to be earned.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not really give respect to people who would just like say things and not do things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And example. Okay, guys, always remember this one. I read this at the elevator in the Z Hostel bar in Makati, Poblacion. There are 10 rules in there. If you go to the elevator, there are 10 rules. House rules of the hostel and the bar. And I think one of the rules there is like only say I love you when you mean it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Yeah. It always gives me a laugh, but it's really true. Because like for me, only say things when you really mean it.
Yeah.
You say things that, okay, I am going to go on your podcast.
Yeah.
If you really want to go there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do not say it, okay, but not doing it.
I think that's something that I probably appreciate the most about people. Like that's like a fundamental aspect that shows that okay, I can trust this person.
Yeah.
And that's like so important. And I don't know, like I feel like modern society just encourages like people to flake, or like it's emotional cowardness or something like people usually don't follow through on this modern transient
I think it's really
culture.
Like that, but you have to understand that that's life.
Okay.
And think of it this way, think of it as a blessing, because in that way you get to weed out the weeds from the real plants.
Yeah, I think that's something I learned the most for the past year was it's like something I know intellectually, but really deeply understood, like on a very deep emotional level.
Yeah.
That, okay, look at what people do, not what people say.
Yes. Okay. I think I read it somewhere as well. I don't know where I read this. Okay, so I have all these like if a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them.
I think
I don't know who said that.
But do you believe in second chances? Like if someone okay, maybe the first time you gave them a chance and then
so the first chance, if they do something wrong, that's on them.
Okay.
The second time they do something wrong, you gave them a second chance, that's on you. And that's the risk that you should be willing to take. Right? Because like if you know that they're going to like flake out the last minute again, they're gonna do something bad or they're gonna betray you, you cannot blame anyone else other than yourself, because you know for a fact that that person has already showed you who they are to begin with.
I think that's
we need a bell.
That's very important. I think that's something I think a lot of people understand intellectually, but hard to do it in practice also. But I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, because I think you
Yeah.
wear your heart on your sleeve too much. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, I can totally get that. And I used to be that kind of person, but at this point in my life, like, okay, the people that are meant to stay in your life are going to stay. And
Yeah.
if they don't, it's totally fine. And sometimes, like, probably you had this really good connection, but
Yeah.
they did not really um end up with you, or they did not stay with you for that long. It's totally fine, because the thing is, you don't think about, you don't feel sad that it's gone, but you should be happy that it happened, right?
Yeah. That's a very good
Yeah,
perspective
it's all
to
about,
keep.
like, tweaking your mindset.
Yeah.
Like, think about, like, okay, what are the positive things about this thing? At least yeah, it really depends on how you take things.
Yeah. I think meditation
Yeah,
helps a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Well, I
Yes.
cannot do meditation because, like, I don't know, I have low attention span.
Oh.
That's why I really want to learn. If you could teach me how.
I've been following this app called Waking Up
Oh,
by
okay.
Sam Harris. Do you know him?
No.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I've been practicing meditation a lot lately, because I find that, like, to I think to keep myself grounded first is a very good way to not be affected by negative negative people or feelings. Yeah, to first, if I know who I am and my value, and then I'm not affected by bad things as much. Yeah. So you seem to immerse yourself into a culture when you travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said you enjoy, like, getting to know the locals and really get to experience the life there. What are some tricks you have to, like, immerse your what? Yeah.
Okay, I think you have to learn the language. Okay. So I have a penchant for anything Latino. Yeah, I listen to reggaeton ever since I was a kid. So I love Latin music. I grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother watches Mexican telenovela. So I think also it's because of the fact that, I'm Filipino, and the culture in the Philippines is almost similar to that of South America. Because okay, there was this Disney movies called Encanto, that is, like, set in Colombia, right? And there was also a Disney movie called Raya that is supposed to be set in Southeast Asia. But for us Filipinos, okay, we were so happy that there was, like, Southeast Asian representation already in this Disney movie called Raya. However, we related more towards that Colombian movie called Encanto because it was closer to our culture. So I think that's the best way to go about it. Like, every time you go to a place, if you really want to immerse yourself with the locals, at least have a grasp of the local language. I'm not saying that you have to be fluent B2 level, but if you could just start a conversation, it's totally fine. I love making conversations with taxi drivers. Okay, not the taxi drivers. Okay, I realize I've had bad experiences with the taxi drivers, and that's, like, a universal thing, because sometimes I know they're nice taxi drivers, but some taxi drivers, they kind of rip you off, especially if you are in the airport, right? It happened to me in the Philippines multiple times, especially in Manila. It would not happen to me in Cebu. Okay, it happened to me in Bogota, and I felt so gutted because, like, my first taxi driver in Bogota, I thought we were friends. We were laughing the whole time. We were just laughing, talking. Then he made me pay 30 euros. I was like,
oh my god,
crazy. But then again, in my mind, okay, that was far. So I was staying in this place called Chapinero. So from Bogota to Chapinero, I don't know how many kilometers is that. Then I realized, okay, maybe if this was in Germany, maybe I'd pay more than 30 euros. Then I realized, no, it's not okay. I asked the people, how much would you normally pay if you travel from the airport to Chapinero? And they said, I think it was less than 30 euros. I said, oh my God, I got ripped off. And to think, okay, maybe I got ripped off, that's one thing. But the fact that I thought me and the taxi driver were friends.
Oh, yeah.
Then I realized,
It's,
oh no,
hurt
they're not your
emotionally.
friends.
Yeah.
Always remember, the taxi driver, do not be friends with the taxi drivers because it's kind of like you not falling in love with the prostitute, right?
Yeah.
So ever since I was just doing what they call Uber. Because at least in Uber, you make a connection, you make this friendship,
price.
you know from the very beginning
how
what's the
much
price and where,
yeah.
when it's going to end, how it's going to end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's totally fine, right?
I have a very similar experience. It happened to me the first day I went to New York.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, oh my god. I was this teenage kid who just is about to go to college in New York. I was so excited. I packed my suitcase. I was like, got down the airplane, and then I took a taxi. I was like, okay, I'm taking a taxi to wherever. I was like, okay, New York City, oh my god. And then I was so excited. I was talking to the taxi driver. I was like, this is my first day in New York.
Oh my god, I said, yeah. Okay.
And then he was like, okay, this teenager. And then right when I was getting down the taxi, I was so appreciative. He helped me getting my suitcase outside of the car. And then it was like, thank you so much. And then I was opening my wallet. And then he saw like, okay, I have $20, you know. And then he was like, oh, okay, normally we need we're paid with tips. You are supposed to tip us. And I was like, okay, I don't know how much I should. And I only have 20 in my wallet. I was like, give me. And he was like, give me that 20.
Okay.
That's what he said. He was like, give me that 20.
Okay, yeah.
And I was a kid. I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I was in shock.
Yeah.
But my wallet is open with $20. Give me that 20, and then he just took it.
Exactly.
And I was in shock with my wallet open, and then that just left a very bad taste in my mouth about
and you were
drivers.
You were just a kid full of dreams from China. And that's the first thing that you encountered in New York.
Welcome to New York.
Right? Exactly. So I'm like,
and then I was like, okay, I need to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's their hustle.
Yeah.
Okay, I totally respect that we all have our different hustles. However, I don't want to be part of that situation. So taxi drivers, do not get mad at us for us choosing Ubers over taxis because we've had bad experiences with. Because I don't mind giving tips.
Yeah.
As long as I am not being forced. Honest. Yeah, because like in Manila, sometimes they would you give them like let's say some bills, and they would not really give you the change. I said, where's my change?
Yeah.
Because if you are not really vigilant about it, and they would just think that you would consider that as a tip, and no, not me. Because the thing is, I wouldn't mind giving a tip if the taxi driver is very nice.
Yes, I also don't mind. I even asked like how much do people usually give. Yeah. If he said okay, 10%, or I would be happy to give some money, but not like okay, give me that 20. Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's just no difference between you being mugged.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But okay, another tip. If you're traveling and if you want to know like where's the best food, it's usually the taxi and the Uber drivers who know where the best food, the local food is.
Okay.
So that's what I usually do. I ask the Uber drivers, where's your favorite restaurant here? Where's your favorite local restaurant? Yeah. And they always give me like the best ones. Okay. Not the touristy ones, the ones that where the locals eat at.
Okay.
And especially in Cebu. Okay. Yeah. I got this from a tip from my friend Kyra, and shout out to Kyra. And she told me about it.
Send her the link.
I will send her the link about this one. Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Because I remember she told me like that's where she gets all her inside information on a city, like where's the best food.
Yeah.
Okay, probably it works if you're from a place that has like good food. I'm not sure in like certain cities.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's very interesting. Okay, so I want to dig a little deeper about what you learn from the hardships in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on one post you said, dear old younger self.
Yeah.
Thank you for never giving up.
Uh-huh.
You've come a long way. And here's to more character development, mistakes,
I wrote that. Okay.
and hardship, heartbreaks.
Okay.
Yeah. So you said you learned about the magic of letting go and the beauty in pain.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is it that's beautiful in pain that you
Me being an artist, I always think that you can make good art once you experience pain, and I love pain. Okay,
you love pain.
Yeah, it may hurt sometimes, but the thing is, it's when you are at your like the most down that you get to create like the best art, and that's really true. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
No,
what is it about?
No, because you have so much emotions in there. Yeah, like let's say if you're going to write, if you're going to paint, you could just like channel that hurt somewhere. And I always believe in channeling that hurt, because like pain demands to be felt, and you have to channel that hurt into something very beautiful. Make an art out of that hurt. Right? I actually don't know like which post you're referring to. I forgot like, oh, did I write that? Okay,
yes.
yeah, okay. Totally.
I love your Instagram posts, by the way. So much expression.
I really forgot like when I wrote that. But yeah, because the thing is, I mean, life is not just like a full of butterflies and roses. It wasn't like a walk in the park. I mean, I had to go through so much hardship just to get to where I am now.
Yeah.
I am not a millionaire. I wish sometimes I was, but you know, I am struggling. I am in Europe, and I am always grateful with for everything. You know, the gift of life, for me being able to do my passion, being able to help my family, being able to be a gift in any capacity or any form towards the people that surround me. So I'm just thankful for that.
Yeah, but why do you think it has to come from pain? Why not like, okay, why do you believe that good art doesn't come from butterflies? You know, because you can also
okay. Yeah, because sometimes there are people that make art, but there was no heart that was poured into it. It just does not really move you. Because for me, a work of art only works if it moves you. Sometimes you see like a portrait, a very well-made portrait. It's almost like a photograph. But then the thing is, you just see it as a beautiful portrait. There was so much, what do you call it? So much talent for that person. Such a great portrait artist. But if you do not feel anything from that portrait, then that didn't work.
So the substance.
Yeah, because like for me, it has to have like a deeper meaning. Yeah, and sometimes like some songs just does not really hit the way certain songs hit you. There are even songs that have like a very happy melody, but with like, let's say, a very sad lyrics, and it just like hits you so bad.
Yeah.
And there are songs that just does not have anything.
Yeah, I do agree. There seem to be like this deeper sense of satisfaction or fulfillment in pain, or like in like you're able to feel so deeply almost beautiful in a sense.
Yeah, there's so much beauty in pain.
Yeah, but then not to like, okay, not in a toxic way, you know, like not not in a way that we worship pain, but in a
No,
way
that's
that
no. Okay, some people are just masochist, but sometimes there's a big difference between like inflicting pain, like let's say choosing to be in a toxic relationship just because you are addicted to that kind of pain, you are addicted to the cycle abuse, and that's on you. But some people, like let's say you've gone through hardships, and being born to a poor family, you could not choose who are your like which parents you are going to be born into. So like those certain things that probably certain situations as well, not all, like not all people are well would be given like a proper education or have access to a good education. So I really think that when it comes to pain, you have to embrace it because that's character building. That's the reason why, like, example, you ride a bike. You're starting to learn to ride the bike, and sometimes you fall, you skin your knees.
Yeah.
But the minute you learn how to ride the bike, you will always remember the time wherein you had to fall, and that makes success even more sweeter, even more sweet. Yeah.
Seems like the beauty is in contrast.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's how you channel the pain into something greater.
Yeah.
And then that manifestation of the pain is something you can connect with other people.
Yeah, and it's all about like what you make of it. It's either you fold,
Yeah.
you take defeat, or it is going to motivate you.
Yeah. So would you say what's beautiful is what's come out of the pain?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's something that makes great art. That's something that allow you to connect to others and allow you to connect to a deeper sense of meaning.
Exactamente.
So, okay. Beautiful. Yeah, so it seems like life is a gift for you despite of the hardships you've been through, and you are very grateful for life. And you also said that every day is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to make mistakes.
Yeah.
What do you think that make you connect to that message so much? What's behind that powers you and allow you to move forward? Because someone can be in your position or like go through hardship and just like accept defeat and say like, okay, I give up.
Okay, some people are just born with grit, or some people have developed grit, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the people that are going to survive are those that have it. If you have grit, and if you know for a fact that you will not surrender, you know that there will just be setbacks.
Do you think that's something that's just born with purely DNA?
I wouldn't say some people are just born with it, but you can learn it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say you can learn it, but some people probably it takes like so much mental fortitude.
Yeah.
Like if you are very strong mentally, you know that certain things they happen to you, but it will not last, and it will just make you better. It will just make you, what do you call this, stronger.
Yeah. So to me, it seems like there's also always this nature and nurture aspect, right? Like you can be born into an environment that doesn't teach you or give you the tools to deal with hardship. And
that's why I think like parents, you have to let your kids make mistakes. You have to let your kids fall. You let your kids play in the mud, and not just pamper them and baby them, because those are the kids that will not have like the grit to achieve their dreams.
Yeah. So it seems like hardship is essential for character
because
development.
you know about the fair dice, right? Like, of course, like the people, their parents that started from being poor in China that are multimillionaires now or billionaires. Then eventually, like the second generation, they will just try to maintain it, but the third generation, the fair dice, most of the time they're probably just they don't know the value of hard work, and all they know is just like spend cash.
Yeah. Although I would say sometimes it's very tempting to want to be paradise.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't
like,
mind.
I wouldn't mind being born to like a rich family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Although I think they suffer differently.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
Not materially. Yeah.
It's so much different. Like if you worked hard for everything that you own, if that success came from your blood, sweat, and tears, and not because you were just born into a well-to-do family.
Yeah, I think I've learned more and more about how one's success or like able to make it far is dependent on one's mindset.
Yeah.
Normally it has not a lot to do with if you're born in a rich family or not. Yeah, but although I do think that the environment that surrounds you is also very important, because we are also at the same time a product of our environment. That's why the people we're surrounding ourselves with are so important, because through like we are kind of average of the closest people around us.
Exactly. You're the summation of like the 5 people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Well,
so if you hang out with losers, then probably you're right. But if you surround yourself with winners, then
well, I think we talked about it before. What are some characteristics you look for from the 5 people around you?
Oh, kindness. Of course, kindness. If a person's not kind, I don't really have time for that. And maybe when I was younger, I would try to understand that person. Like maybe that person just needs more understanding. Probably you give that person a few more years, then we don't have that much time to wait for a person to become kind. And at this point, I'm like, no, sorry, I don't really have time for that. So kindness is really important for me. Yeah. And actually, basically, that's it. Because I just want to learn from all the people that I surround myself with. So I really don't give an F where the person is coming from, as long as they're kind.
Yeah. To give people respect and not have not think that they're better than others.
Exactly.
That's very important. Yeah. I think no matter where you are in life, it's not your excuse to be an asshole to other people.
Right? It takes $0 to not be an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. That's a very good end to the podcast. That's a very good note to end on.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I actually had fun. I had fun.
You had fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. I learned so much from you.
Yay.